Behind the Counter with the Food Czar podcast is brought to you by Berkshire Hathaway's 5-time Platinum Award Circle of Excellence winner and New Jersey's best realtor, Jennifer Kotler. Jen has over $100 million in sales and treats her clients like family. Jen knows New Jersey from head to toe. Selling or buying? Jen Kotler is your partner from beginning to end. Where do you want to live? Contact Jen at 201-803-2828. Welcome to the podcast Behind the Counter with your host, me, Heidi Blum, also known as the Food Czar. I was born and bred in Livingston, New Jersey, and I have seen firsthand over the past few years how food and the people behind the counter can bring a community together. We all have a story. We all have an appetite. Each episode will explore the thread between food, people, and community and the stories that weave them all together. So let's get behind the counter and dig in. Here we go.
This is Behind the Counter.
Behind the Counter
with the Food Czar. Here's Heidi.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Counter with the Food Czar, which is me, Heidi Blum. And today's episode is amazing on a couple levels. One, it's my first outdoor interview, so I hope the sound is okay. Check one, check two. And the second reason it's amazing is because I'm sitting with Alex Diamantopoulos of... Did I say it well?
That is, it's correct.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you. Of THAVMA, and we are here to single-handedly squash every rumor that THAVMA is closing. Am I right?
Yeah, so you kind of brought it up to me. Like I told you before, I mean, we've gone through this. This is going to be our 17th year here. So we've gone through this in 2008 with the financial crisis. So typically, I think it's attributed a lot when other places close and, people just start, oh, I heard this, I heard that, but you never know who said what. And so we went through it in 2008. We went through it in COVID. We're like, whoa, we heard you're closing. Like, no, we're not going anywhere. So, just last week when you told me, like, oh, I heard from multiple sources you guys are closing. I'm like, oh, really? So, and then it's ironic because you did one other for...
for Fruitables,
yeah,
that they were closing.
Yeah, and I was like, and I actually responded to that because I was like, I've been through this. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing your thing. You're fine. Because it passes. It always when it happens. Then they see it. There's no substance to it, and it goes away. But it's a little unsettling at first when you first hear it. But like I said, this is like
you're used to it.
This is like the third time I've gone through it in the 17 years I've been here. So.
So let's start from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You are the owner, the
Correct.
sole owner,
right.
and manager, I guess, right, of THAVMA, which is THAVMA Mediterranean Grill, which has delicious Greek salads and hummus and all those good things, which we'll get into the food later. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Tell me about little Alex and how little Alex got to be this restaurant owner.
So how far do you want me to go back?
Did you go to college for restaurant management?
So that's the funny part. So I grew up obviously in a Greek household. My father was in the diner business, and growing up, my father was always like, "Listen," he goes, "You better go to school. I don't want you to work like a jackass like me." And so I did. I went to NJT. So I graduated the bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I actually worked as an engineer. I guess most people know that. I worked as an engineer for 10 years, mostly in telecom. So that was, I don't want to date myself, but that was like in the 90s when I came out. And if you remember then, that was when all the tech stuff was really hot, like Cisco and Juniper. So I worked for a couple of companies, and then like the one startup I was working for, I was like, stock options. And that's when all the companies
that
were going
was very
public.
big back then.
That's when all the companies were going public. And I'm like, man, I'm going to retire at like 25. I'm not going to work no more. After 9/11, it was very difficult. It went from like really hot to really cold because there was a lot of uncertainty. So that's when I decided, and I was about to start a family. And I was like, you know what? I go, if this happens now, I'm okay now because I really didn't have a lot. I didn't have any mortgage. I didn't have, I had enough money. But I said, if this happens when I have a mortgage and I have kids and I'm out of work, I thought about that. So I looked into the restaurant business at the time, whereas like, at least if something goes wrong, it's on me. It's not because the CEO screwed up or something like that. So I was looking for a while for a place. And then I was actually consulting at Alcatel in Whippany when this came up. And it was new construction. So
Oh, yeah. What year? So what year did Town Center go up?
So I signed the lease in '06.
Wow.
So it was like, I think it started '05. They started.
Yeah.
No, because they told me it took them a while with the construction.
Yeah.
But '06, I opened in '07 in July. So around that time. So, so '07, you know, it was crazy in the beginning. Like anything in this town when it's new. So I opened in the summer, in July.
So did you have a business plan to open a
Yeah.
Greek restaurant? You're
Yeah.
like, this is what I'm gonna do.
But opening, you know, you should usually do a soft. You learn a lot of things the first time around.
Yes, of course.
You should probably do a soft opening, especially in this town, because
Yeah.
like you just get bombarded. And the thing is, we were in the summer, so our capacity is double because of the patio.
Yep.
And it was a little rough in the beginning, you know, and it smoothed out. And then '07, but then '08, we had the financial crisis.
Sure.
And that's when like the mall, almost everything went out.
Yeah.
And like '08, '09, I'm not gonna lie, were rough. I made it, you know.
What was underneath? There was a place that
So
was
it was
Fresh City. Yep.
And then it was Fousey's. It was the same guy.
Oh yeah, and we had Baumgart's.
And Baumgart's was there, and then he sold it to another gentleman, and then he became ill, and then he sold it to the
QQ?
people. QQ has it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So '08, '09 were rough. We made it through, and then honestly, from like 10 to 20 were phenomenal years. They were really great. And then, you know, in 20 it was rough again because of the COVID.
Yep.
Like I didn't have all these grades before that. Those were
I think
rough.
a lot of us could say that.
Those
yeah.
were rough years, especially in the restaurant business. You know, just there was so much uncertainty, especially in the beginning when they shut us down, and you know, we were able to operate very, very limited for a little while, and then luckily in the summer we got our patio back, so we were able to operate. But then again, with the masks and the distancing.
Oh yeah, no, it was brutal.
So we made it through that, and we're here now, and. So I know Anthony's coal fire went out, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Well, I think. Well, I want to go back for a second
Sure.
before we get too far into the town center. So, your dad worked at a diner, or did he own a diner?
No, so he had a few. So they had the Bayonne diner, and then he was in the city. So him and his brothers, they had diners. Yeah.
What diner in the city? Anything I've been at?
Up in Washington Heights.
Okay, yeah.
Heights, yeah.
So, did you work at the diner at all?
Not really.
Why is it that it's like predominantly Greek people own diners?
Well, it was because that generation is now no longer working, and in our generation and younger,
Yeah.
want nothing to do with it. It's rough business. Like if you told me to open a diner, you know,
It's brutal. It's a huge menu.
I mean,
it's
nobody,
all
yeah,
hours.
nobody does
Yeah.
24 hours anymore.
Yeah.
You know, staffing is not what it was.
Yep.
So and the thing is, like, even the diners you don't really have Greeks in the kitchen anymore. You know,
but
it's
what?
just staff.
But was it why were? But is there a reason why Greek people gravitated towards a diner?
Oh, like certain industries? Well,
I'm just curious.
I guess, so
Yeah.
they came, you know, from Greece. So my father was born during World War II, you know, so right after it was tough times.
Yeah.
Because there was a civil war in Greece after World War II, so it was really rough. And they came over for better life, you know. So they came over on a boat with like nothing, and you know they started working. So obviously, I think my father lived in Bloomfield, you know, and they worked in the city and whatnot, but it was something they knew. They knew how to cook.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, they started out as dishwashers and they worked their way up and they got their own place and they moved up. And, you know, it's the American dream. I guess you
Yes.
just come from nothing and you can make whatever you want of yourself if you work hard enough.
So did your family, like when you were growing up, is that like what you ate? Like all the like that we see on a Greek menu, or that we see on the menu here? Is that stuff that
Well,
you
I
grew
was
up eating?
fortunate that my mom cooked every day, right? So, yeah, so my mom was from Greece as well. So we always had home-cooked meals every day. There was no DoorDash, no Uber Eats.
Yeah.
We rarely had even pizza.
So like your favorite home cooked meal from your mom, what are those items?
The coquinisto, which is the lamb and orzo, was always one of my favorites. The lamb, it's like a stew.
Yeah.
There's so much. My mom would actually make, like when she make the spanakopita, the spinach pie.
Yeah.
She would actually make the dough and like roll it out with the big, you know, like
pen?
not buying it, and like she'd roll it out. Which I remember that because she would always complain like, "Oh, it's so much work," and I'm like, "I know, Ma," I know, but
That's probably hard to make because it's really
So much
it's
work.
all the layers, right? The
So much
phyllo
work.
dough.
Yeah.
And just say it for me because I know I don't say it right.
Spanakopita?
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
spanakopita.
Spanakopita.
Yeah.
Like THAVMA Grill.
Yeah, exactly. THAVMA, yeah. And like I know like Greek salads, like we all eat them, but
Right.
like is Greek was that a thing?
So the Greek salad that everybody gets here is not so like there isn't a whole lot of lettuce consumed in Greece?
No, I've been to Greece, so it's
so-
really tomatoes and
So the
cucumbers.
Koriatik or the village, it's just
It's the
tomato.
best. That's my favorite, actually.
You know, it's and the thing is, like when you're there, I don't know, everything's just like awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you decided to open, so now we're in 05, and you find the place, you sign the lease. So who mentors you in how to run a restaurant and how to do a menu and and find cooks who can cook it? I mean, how do you put all that together?
Look, I mean, like a lot of things you kind of learn, but my father helped me a lot, and I had a friend of mine that I had a partner, my best friend. He was in the business with me back then, and it's just a lot of it is trial and error. I mean, you obviously talk to people and whatnot because being in the industry, in the business, I had a lot of family, so I was fortunate to have a crutch, especially in the beginning, like the recipes. Like my dad obviously helped me a lot because it's difficult because it's when you're the sole operator, it's difficult to watch the front and then to watch the back, right?
So you have to have people you trust.
Yeah, so that's always challenging.
Yeah, and I mean, you probably know you probably learned over time the items that sell, the items that don't sell.
Yeah.
Have you changed your menu over the years?
Yeah, so that's why, like in the beginning when we first started out, like I told you before, it's Greek to me, right? So what really put the kibosh on that was I think the financial crisis, because those 08, 09, and it just it was rough.
Brutal.
Yeah. So the only way you kind of can make it in this business is if you adapt. So you kind of have to see what works and what doesn't work. And when you're kind of locked in a franchise, you don't have that flexibility to adapt.
Yeah.
And you kind of have your hands tied. So when you see something that's not working, and going into it, you accept that, and that's fine. But it was at a point where like either we're gonna close up or we're gonna try something different.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's kind of when in THAVMA it was like a 9 or 10 was when we switched over.
Does THAVMA mean anything in Greek?
It does.
Oh, what? I've never even thought of it until just now.
So it's a Greek word. It means miracle. And when people ask me, "Oh, did you come up with that?" And I go, "It's a miracle. I'm in business."
Beep. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Oh, I'm so glad I know that now. Now let's talk about Town Center for a second. So Anthony's Coal Fire went out.
Yeah.
There are still a few places here.
Yes.
You seem to be, clearly the longest runner here.
Yeah, I think it's just me and Omaha at this point. Omaha Steaks.
I know. Do people go there?
They must.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, it's a small place, but out of the original.
No, it's just. Yeah.
Because like where Anthony's was, you remember it was a clothing store, Atrium.
I don't even remember that.
It was like a.
Oh, I do remember that.
It
yes.
was like a New York City store.
Yes.
And they thought it would do well here. And
it did not.
Like,
yeah.
Not even.
I thought Sur La Table would do well here.
Sur La Table was awesome.
Yes.
Didn't make it.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
So do you think that's where the rumors are getting started from?
So I think I might be to blame a little bit too. So and I was thinking about this when you told me that. So at the end of the year, my lease is actually up, and my landlord, I've been talking to him, to renew, and I must have mentioned it to a couple of people, and because, look, I'm on my 4th landlord here.
Yeah.
It's been a little rough in that regard. So I wanted to really talk to them if they had plans what their plans were in the future before that. So, like I told you before, I'm at a point where I have 2 kids going to college next year and the year after. So I kind of just can't retire yet. So I'm in the process and it's going good. And I can tell you that we're pretty close, because it's not up until January, the lease.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're negotiating now, and I think we're at a point where we're both happy that we're just gonna
you would think
sign options.
They wouldn't want this to be empty too.
No, that's why they're working.
Yeah.
With it. Yeah, we're working it out, and I think pretty soon we'll have something.
Could you move downstairs to Anthony's Coal Fire?
Well, that's a tough thing, right? So a restaurant is not like a clothing store where you can just pick up and move.
Yeah.
So when I got this space, it was just a slab of concrete. So I had to build it out, and it's considerable investment. So you can't move your kitchen. You can't, and the most expensive part of the restaurant is not the tables, it's not the pretty decor. It's the ventilation, the HVAC, the cooking equipment, the plumbing, electrical. So you can't really move. You would have to rebuild.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where it is now.
It's the smell, by the way. It smells like
something's cooking, right?
Something's cooking.
Yeah, when
it
you're
smells,
sitting here, it comes out.
Yeah. It smells like bacon, but I know it's not bacon.
It could be.
Could it?
Well, we have that one burger.
Oh yeah, your
has
Greek
bacon.
burger.
Yeah.
It's the Greek.
It's
It's
got
the
that-
THAVMA burger.
It's got that apple with smoked bacon.
My son loves that. Okay, so do you cook?
All right. So here's the other thing. So if you want to survive in this business, you
Yeah.
have to cook, you have to clean, you
Yeah.
have to. So especially like anyone who's made it through COVID understands that you're not making it through unless you know how to do everything. So
Yeah.
the tough part about this industry is that, staffing is always challenging, finding good people. And I've been fortunate. I have a lot of people that have been here a long time. But of course you go through some turnover. And the thing is, like in this business, if you don't know how to do every part of the business, I hate to say it, but staff will sometimes take advantage of it.
Sure.
Like if
Yeah,
they know you don't know how to cook, they're going to be like, I want double salary. or
Totally, 'cause
I'm
you're
walking
so
out-
dependent on
I'm walking
them.
out on a full Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it's happened, and I'd be like, you know what? There's a door. Take it easy. I'm going to bust my ass and I'll work in the kitchen for a week until I find somebody new and I train them and we move on.
Yeah.
So it's part of the business, so you kind of have
yes,
to know.
you know how to cook?
You kind of have to know everything, yeah.
And are any of the recipes?
So my dad,
I was going to ask if they're your dad's or your mom's or any
Yeah.
like family recipes.
we're talking 17 years now. So I've been fortunate. Like in the beginning, my dad's 85 now. He comes and visits me, and we have lunch together. But he doesn't want to work anymore. But I wouldn't want him either. But,
yeah, of course.
But like his soups, because he used to make the best soups. Like all the recipes that are his, like the moussaka, the pasticcio, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's very nice.
So that's really helpful.
Yeah.
So like even sometimes, and I'm like, can you check this out? I think something's off. And he'll be like, it's they're doing this wrong or they're checking
Too much this,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
enough this. So, there's always like that good recipe for hummus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you pronounce it hummus in Greek?
So, actually, the translation is revito salata, but yeah, we just say hummus.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yours happens to be delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I love it because it's just the consistency
Mm-hmm.
about it. How do you make your hummus?
So we have the regular one, right? That's just like a generic one, and then we also have that featured one that we've had on the special for like 8 years because it's so popular. You never had that?
I don't know. Which one is it?
Come on, you ever had that?
I'm
With the
sure.
smashed avocado and the red wine reduction.
Yes, I have
So
had
that
it.
one
That's
we
delicious.
actually we roasted chicken. So it's a little different. That's when I had a really great chef at that point. And so basically he takes the chickpeas and he roasts them to get them a little smoky flavor, and then he puts more vegetables in it, and he purees it, and it's like so much more flavor than like. But I would say the other one still sells more because look, Livingston people
I
people
love
like
the-
what they like.
Yes, they
and
do.
That's what it is. So
But
We
the
sell both.
original, the OG hummus,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like that consistency, I love that. There's
Yeah.
something. It's creamy. It's light, but not light. But it's good, and it's garlic. It's got everything.
Yeah.
Like it's
healthy.
perfection.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
as long as you don't have a sesame allergy. Because like the thing is, like, today a lot of people have allergies. So, and I feel bad like when people come in like, I have this allergy, and I'm like, oh no.
But is it it's tahini? Is that it's
tahini
tahini?
sesame
Yeah.
paste. It's
yeah.
like ground sesame.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
But you're correct. People in Livingston like what they like.
Yeah.
So the top sellers, I bet,
Yes. Go ahead.
is the
You don't-
hummus.
Yeah.
Right? Is the Greek salad,
salad, yes.
obviously. A kebab.
And the kebabs.
Yeah,
Those
see?
three.
I know
yeah.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What about the beet salad? The beet salad's delicious.
So those are great because, and like when people have them, like, oh, I don't like beets. I'm like, oh my God, these are amazing. It's like, yeah, because, we don't use canned beets. Like we actually get beets and we boil them for like an hour and a half, and then we make it fresh because it's such a difference. I mean, like.
You could tell yours is fresh.
So
yeah.
the thing is, like, it's not like the old days. Like, I can even say like the old diner days where most people didn't know. Like everyone's educated now, and everyone knows when you're getting something that's not prepared properly or not
Yeah.
prepared or not fresh. Because like, or you have it, all you need to have it is one time.
Right, like you say generic hummus, but I want people to understand that doesn't mean that you're like buying like Sabra.
No, we make it here.
You
No.
make it
Yeah,
here.
we make
It's just it's your basic hummus.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
we don't put too much into it. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just chickpea, garlic, olive oil.
How much chickpeas do you go through in a week? I'm
Oh my
curious.
God, a lot. I don't even know.
You like to buy like the big cans?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're not
cases.
getting cans.
But the thing is,
That's
is,
not,
but even when you roast, so you can either cook them.
yeah. Do you get them dry?
So you can get them dry and cook them.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you're hurry, you got to use the canned ones. But then you got to like, when you saute them and you get a little flavor on them.
Yeah.
So it depends. So, and like I said, when I go back to the thing where some people like certain things, there was a point where like on our spinach salad has chickpeas on it, right?
Yeah.
So we always did a certain way, and my chef was like, "Oh, I'm gonna toast these and put them on." It's like, so I'm like, "Oh my God, it's so much better." And like feedback I got, like, this is disgusting. You know, and like I go, the other ones were canned, man. I go, I don't want it. Like, oh, that's what they want.
I know. I mean,
feel
you know
what
what? Between the rumors and that, I
Yeah.
mean, our town has quite a reputation in the food department.
It's like, you know, like, oh, like the thing is, like, I don't get a lot of Greeks here. And when I do get Greeks, it's always like, oh, it's pretty good, but there's always a but, right? Like, oh, my yaya used to make like this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. Your yaya wants to work here? I don't know, man. Because so you kind of have to cater to what your client is, you know. So if they want things a certain way, and after 17 years, I know what the people, you know, like and what they don't like. So
after 17 years, number one, what's like the looking back?
Yeah.
What's the one thing you wish you knew then that you know now?
Oh my God, what would I tell young me? Run away. No, I mean, the restaurant business is tough. But when I made that decision, like I said, we were just starting our family, right? So I was fortunate enough. So my wife worked in the city so she worked. We had our daughter was born in 05, and then my son was born when I was building this place in 07. They're only 15 months apart. So she stopped working. So we came to the conclusion that, you know, she would stay home and take care of the kids because, I don't know, there's something to be said when you can stay home, especially today, because it's not easy. It's really not.
No, it's not.
To stay home and raise your kids without any help.
Yes.
You know? So I think it was good for my kids that, you know, she stopped working. And, you know, so before that, it was difficult, you know, because if you had both of you working and then you have to worry about daycare and
that's
juggling.
an added expense and stress, I think, too. Yeah. So what do you
that
wish you
enabled
knew
me
that?
certain
Yeah.
things. So when people tell me, you know, I guess the best advice I tell people is the grass is always greener on the other side. So when I used to work as an engineer, and like, especially when you work, like at the smaller companies, it was more fun, right? Because I was actually like designing stuff and prototyping and building, and you would see accomplishment. And then you go to the larger companies, and it's more politics and more red tape. And I felt like I was just sitting there, and I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. You know, it's like I was bored.
Yeah.
And to the point where, I don't want to say what companies, but like the big ones, it was like, when I first went there, like people would pull me aside, like, oh, wait, what are you doing? You got to slow down. You're gonna mess up our thing here.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna mess up our thing here.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because
okay.
we don't want to work too fast, you know. We got to take our time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. At first, it's like, oh, I'm getting paid to just sit here. But after a while, most people are like, I can't do this. So, you know, I was sitting there and I'm like, I got to do my own thing. So when I was there, I was like, this sucks. I want to do my own thing. But then you do your own thing, and it's, oh, wow, this is great. But this sucks. I work on weekends. This sucks. I don't have a day off. Like, even when I'm off, I still get a phone call, you know, or something happens. So there's always that. So you don't have the flexibility. You have more freedoms where my wife was able to stay home, you know, and raise our kids. But, you know, on the other end, you're kind of tied here to the business.
What's the one thing that you wish you didn't know
about the business?
Yes.
So like I grew up in the business kind of, so I kind of knew what it was. Like, because I remember, honestly, my father, so he was the chef, so he used to wake up 4:30 every morning because he'd have to go make the soups. And I remember my father growing up, he would come home and he would sit in his lazy boy, and he would, after like 2 minutes, like narcolepsy, you know? So that's how I remember my dad. So I kind of knew
what you were getting into.
Yeah. You know, but.
Do you wish that you had a liquor license here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like not in the cards at this location, or this town in general is very difficult, right? Because there's only 6, right? And I think...
Shouldn't we have more?
So this is like the way the towns go. So, I mean, we can have a whole separate podcast on the liquor license because, you know, Murphy's trying to get rid of it.
Yes.
So it really is like a cartel. It's like the medallions. It makes no sense. It's like... So like so my wife's from Paramus, and like I grew up in Prince County, right? So Paramus, they're going for like over $2 million a piece, right? So it's supply and demand.
Oh my God.
So like 2.3, 2.4, just for a license. And the thing is, so the talk is to dissolve them, but of course you have all these people that have spent these millions of dollars. So it's tricky, right? Because they're like, you know what, you do this to us, we're just going to pick up and leave. But the one thing I can say is, between 2010 and 2020, when we had really good years. Being a BYO, like we won like Suburban Essex Best BYO, you know, Best Mediterranean for a while, but the BYO was always a good thing. And if you come here on a weekend, like when we're packed, every table everybody brings, right? And it's a nice thing. But the one thing that's changed since COVID that I can say that when you ask me about the liquor license, the only places that really see profit nowadays, like, is liquor.
Liquor license, yeah.
Because, like,
The margins are different.
the food prices have gone up.
Yep.
So the margins have shrunk.
Yep.
But, like, liquor is still the same price. But when you go out, like I went out with my buddies in Edgewater, man. So, like, a 12-year-old scotch was $25.
I know.
For an ounce and a half, you know? So they're making money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because the margins on that is insane. So
I look at how much a bottle of wine is that
Right.
I buy in a store,
Right.
you know, at a liquor
Right.
store, and then
Right.
you see it on the menu
Yeah.
and the wine list, and it's marked up threefold,
But
if not four.
The thing is, like, in 2019, that bottle was pretty much the same price.
Yep.
But the thing is, if you look at, like, the price of lamb or the price of seafood,
it's so much more.
Double.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's like double. So
Have you had to change the prices on your menu because of it?
yeah, so obviously, I mean, COVID was rough because there was so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
We had so much shortages with supply chain issues.
Yeah.
It's like 1 week we just didn't have this stuff, and like I hate going to Restaurant Depot, but I was going to Restaurant Depot.
Yeah.
And during COVID, it was so brutal because they would only let like 20 people in at a time, and you'd have to wait there with
Oh my
masks
God.
and gloves, and it's changed a lot. So yeah, of course, and I know the thing is that the tough thing with the price increases is that people take it personally, right? So we try to alleviate it. So I don't know if you remember, like we used to offer, and I used to hate it. We used to offer a side salad with every entree. We did
Okay.
this in the early days when we were really busy. So so a friend of mine with the restaurant business, he was like, just give him a salad to keep him happy until you guys can get settled
Smart, yeah.
down. Okay. But then that stuck. And the thing is, it was so, it would tie up so basically, it would tie up the salad person because they're making all these little salads, right?
Yeah.
And then all the takeout, and it was just a lot. And I was like, oh my God. So, and I really couldn't get rid of it because I would get crucified.
Yeah.
Right? So when COVID came, I was like, all right. So that's when everybody, you had no choice. So
Sure.
I gave people the option. I said, listen, I'm not going to raise the prices. I'm just going to make the salad optional at a discounted price. So I think we have it now the same. It's like you can add it on for like $3.75.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, less than 10% of the people get it. So
Yeah.
it was kind of, it's like, oh, if you're giving it to me, I want it. But if I got to pay for it, I don't want it. I really don't want it. So that's kind of how I didn't want to like jack prices up $3 on certain items. And so that was like the initial stage. But yeah, it was a rough time.
So since you're not moving,
Mm-hmm.
what's next for THAVMA?
So hopefully, with the lease, it'll probably be another 5 and 5, so at least another 10 years. So
Okay.
at that point, I'll be really old, and I don't know.
Yay.
That time, I don't know. But my kids will hopefully be through college by then. But I mean, at the same time, I've kind of been like bored, so I've been looking for like maybe something else. Maybe on the like, I can't say it's something big because you really need multiple partners, and I don't know if I can really work with a partner at this point.
Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
The thing is, when you're by yourself for a long time, it's tough.
You're used to working by yourself.
And
Are you looking for another Greek restaurant?
so what
Another-
I'm looking for a spot. I'm in no hurry. So basically, I've had a couple of my friends who are in the business just looking for. So the one thing that's changed also since COVID is the takeout, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we always did good takeout, like maybe a third of our business. For like in a restaurant, like in the summer now, we have like 120, 130 seats, but we always did we did really good takeout on top of it. But what's changed since then with the Uber Eats and the DoorDash, COVID made people, I hate to say it, but people got lazier.
Oh,
Like,
you can say it. I'm
I see
the
it with
laziest.
my kids, man. My
Yeah.
kids and they both drive now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the I go,
because it's such instant.
so easy.
It's so easy.
So I was so reluctant to add like DoorDash and Uber Eats because we were so busy. And the thing is, like, those orders always come when you're busy. So the thing
Yeah.
is, when you have like a full restaurant, it's very difficult because you're sacrificing then, the experience because when your kitchen gets
Yeah.
stressed like that, and like it'd be great if they could just do it at like 3:00, like now.
Yeah.
No problem, right?
Yeah.
My guys just look. They're
Get
standing
your
around.
orders in now, people. Yeah.
They're just like playing on their phones.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. It always comes at a certain time. But what I saw, I want to say since COVID, the ratio from 30%, like in the winter, it was almost as high as 50.
Sure.
Right? So I guess I'm getting sidetracked. What I'm looking for is probably a smaller place just to do smaller, like inexpensive takeout, like just the salads, just like
Like a THAVMA to go.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
none of the like the saute, like the stuff that like the moussaka, very
Yeah.
labor intensive. I wouldn't do like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It would be simple stuff.
Like your wings,
Yeah.
your spreads,
Yeah. It's limited menu.
a
but-
kebab, and a salad.
because if you look at our takeout stuff, I mean, people do order a lot of sautés and stuff like that, like the shrimp and all that. But it's like you said, it's
Yeah.
kebabs, it's the grilled stuff, it's the salads, and it's the hummus, and
It's not a bad idea.
so.
But how would it compete? Like, oh, well, actually now it's gone. We had,
I probably wouldn't be in this town.
oh, okay.
In the area.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I live in Montville and Tawaco, so I don't know. I don't want to be too far, but
Yeah. No, I was going to say, because we had Garbanzo. with
that was a
simple
chain,
Greek.
I
That's
think.
a chain,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and that's what you want people to know. Like
yeah, but like fast casual like
yeah.
that, right?
But it's fast, it's casual, but it's authentic.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the
yeah.
difference.
And I think sometimes that's what they miss out on when the chains come, the authenticity, right? Because I don't know, you have corporate setting it up and they kind of leave, and then you have people running at that, the consistency. That's the toughest thing, is right, maintaining consistency. So that's what you really have to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I opened here, and I remember the landlords, they were all Livingston residents in like that time, and they were like, "Yeah, we need you guys. You got to do takeout and delivery." And I'm like, "Oh," because he goes, "All we have is pizza." This is 17 years ago. All we have is pizza and Chinese. That's all we had at that point. Obviously it's changed a lot since then.
Yeah, but we still have a lot of pizza
Absolutely,
and
man.
Chinese, yeah. But, thank God we have you.
No, but like when people say, "Oh, isn't that going to hurt you?" I'm like, no, because like, so you got to look at the beginning when this first opened. Do you remember Mama Tucci's Cross? So we had Italian.
Yes, that's right.
So we had 4 restaurants. So we had Baumgart's, Mama Tucci's. So we had Italian.
Yep.
We had me, and then we
Mama
had
Tucci's was up here.
where Keller
Yeah.
Williams is.
Yeah.
So I equate that to kind of like, if you know Bergen County, like Riverside Square.
Yeah.
All those restaurants.
Yeah.
They feed off each other. So the thing is, if one's working, they're all working.
Totally.
Because you don't eat the same place 7 days a week.
Nope.
Even if you eat at one place 1 day a week, it's good. It's good for the place. So.
Yep.
Traffic is good for everyone.
Yep.
And that's the main thing.
Well, and that's exactly why we're here today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think we covered like a lot of things.
Mhm.
Let's review.
Okay.
Okay. Alex, the owner,
Mhm.
in the business and owned this for 17 years.
Yeah.
Going nowhere.
Right.
I repeat, going nowhere.
Going nowhere.
Here for another 10 years.
Hopefully.
We're going to look out for possibly a pop-up somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? And we're going to just hope that people understand that you're going nowhere and they need to come and eat here.
Yeah. And it's funny, like when people say that, this is the third time I'm going through it, and it's like, who did you hear this from? Like, oh, I can't divulge my source.
It's funny because I literally was sitting at the Knicks game the other night
Yeah.
and I got a DM, and if she listens, then she's going to know this is her. And it was like, oh my God, you have to find out. Like, it
Yeah.
was panic.
Yeah.
And I said, where did you hear that from? She said, multiple sources.
Yeah. Pickleball. They play pickleball. in
Yeah,
there,
totally. They're like, did you hear THAVMA's leaving? Oh, it probably is leaving. I'm
then
sure they are leaving. Why would they stay?
Yeah.
It's like probably one of those
Yeah.
conversations.
It's fine.
But I'm glad we got to sit down together
Yeah,
today
absolutely.
and
Was
squash
looking
all
forward to
that.
it.
Yes. Spring has sprung,
Yeah,
though.
I know.
And I will say, for those of you who are listening and have not eaten at THAVMA, they have a beautiful
Yeah.
patio that overlooks the center of Livingston,
center, yeah.
but you also don't feel like it's like guarded in a way.
Right.
So it's like an oasis in the
captive,
middle of
yeah.
Livingston.
Except for the traffic sometimes, which you could hear.
Well, we do not have great drivers in this town, so there's
No.
probably a lot of
Yeah.
horns. But it's worth sitting here. They have beautiful umbrellas.
Absolutely.
So anyone who doesn't want to sit in the sun
Mm-hmm.
is covered. And on a beautiful day or a beautiful evening, you bring your bottle of wine.
Right.
You have a nice little appetizer of the hummus, a nice Greek salad,
Absolutely.
and you'll be very happy.
Yep.
And your staff is the nicest too.
I know.
So
I've been fortunate with that. I've been a lot of people that have been here. A lot of my staff have been here a long time. So it's not easy to find. Like when COVID, there were like people telling me like, "Oh, how are you finding staff?" Because it was rough.
oh yeah.
And then after the year after, I was like, "Oh, do you have staff?" I'm like, so then it was like, "Yeah, we have staff, but it's easy to find staff now, but it's not easy to find good staff."
And
So,
loyal staff.
Yeah. So
And trustworthy staff, too,
I've been
yeah.
fortunate in that regard. Yeah.
You can tell. I mean, the minute you walk in,
Yeah.
I forget what her name is.
Sarah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the minute I walked in, she was like, "You're gonna sit here. I'll help you with your stuff." I mean, she was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're very lucky. But that also is a reflection on you.
Like I said, I've worked on both sides, like
Yeah.
corporate, so I have sensitivity training, I guess. But no, but it's really, if you take care of them, like even my kitchen guys, like, listen, man, I go, like I never, like growing up in the diner business, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was said in the kitchen that
I'm
you
sure.
would never repeat, like stuff thrown. So like,
Hoopa.
yeah, no, it
Wasn't in that celebratory way.
It was
Yeah.
bad, but in some regards, but whatever. Nobody died, you know, it was
Yeah.
fine. But here, you know, and my kitchen guys, a lot of them know that, you know, I treat them with respect. You know, I go and I tell them, you treat me with respect, I'll treat you with respect. You know, it's like, you know, don't not show up to work. With,
Yep.
you know, it's mutual respect. So after a while, they understand that, and it's good.
But I think that's why you've been successful for
Yeah.
17 years.
Yeah.
And for many more to come.
Hopefully.
I know so.
Yeah.
I know so. Well, Alex, thank you so much for sitting with me.
Thank you for having me.
And I can't wait to order my dinner for tonight.
We're gonna have the hummus, the special one.
I'm going to have the special.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that pasta dish that I saw walking in.
No, that's my favorite.
And a couple salads.
Okay.
And maybe more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. If you are hearing this message, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm truly grateful for you and this opportunity. The purpose of the Behind the Counter podcast is to bring food, people, and community together. I hope you'll return for more episodes and explore with me. I want to personally thank Fran Linnell of Design 68 for my amazing Behind the Counter podcast logo, and Travis Lohenberg for my awesome Behind the Counter music, and all the guests that take their time to sit and talk with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you hear your podcasts. If you'd like to support the Behind the Counter podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends and family, and you can follow me on Instagram at Heidi Blum. If you have any feedback or stories that you want to share, you can email me at foodsarbtc@gmail.com.